Okay. Hi, Patty Kaye. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for coming on this show. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you so much for the opportunity to help me get the message out.
Well, your message is exactly what? It's about MS, multiple sclerosis.
Yes. And just a short version, I was diagnosed in my first year as a physical education teacher at a high school, and it was not the life that I thought I'd have, and walked away from teaching 10 years later. And did a PhD thinking if I can't teach high school, I would teach at a teacher's college, and had a lot of great interviews and saw wonderful parts of Canada and the US. Um, but I never was given the opportunity to sign up for a tenured position. So then it took me another 14 years to get out of my funk and figure out that my mindset is the most important thing to get me through each day. And I say now, in the beginning, MS stood for multiple sclerosis. Today it stands for mindset shift. And I want to empower women all over the world with MS to do the same.
Well, I think that's a great message. And you're right about mindset. You know, the outside world won't change, but how you perceive it will. And
Absolutely.
it'll affect how you react and how you create and how you work and move forward. Absolutely true. I've heard that said in many different forms, but the message is exactly the same.
Yes. Yeah. It's you know, I grieved a lot and I thought about my past a lot, but the only one that was getting bent out of shape was me. And, I had to do something. And I just figured, you know what? I'm going to let the past go, let my illness story go, live in the present, enjoy the moments, and think about a future that I never ever thought I would have. But I don't know what it's going to look like, but you know what? I have one, and that's what counts.
Yes, that's true. Can you explain what multiple sclerosis is, just for people who might not know?
Yes, it is an autoimmune disease, and it affects the central nervous system, predominantly the brain and spinal cord. And what happens is plaque builds up around the nerves and it creates a gap. So when I say in my brain, take a step, it travels down the proper nerve to my leg, but it'll come across a piece that's missing. And so either the message is very, very delayed or it doesn't happen at all.
You want to take a step forward, and the message goes from your brains to your leg, but it might not get there, or it just takes a long time to get there.
It could be one or the other. So people who end up in a wheelchair because of MS, the message is not getting there at all. I struggle with foot drops. So my right foot, the toes don't come up very well. And so I often will hit my front of my shoe on a rock or a ledge. And that's a delayed response partway. And then I can't lift that foot. So somewhere along that line, after I know I'm taking a step, my foot will not um, raise. And so I'm missing something there.
What particular symptoms do you have? Because I noticed in the video before we got on that you could walk. You got up and got a drink or something.
Yes, yes.
um,
Um, my first symptom was double vision, and it's called optic neuritis, and that is one of the most common first symptoms. And I woke up one morning and could see double, and was very lucky to get in to see my GP. And the best thing she said to me is, you know what, I don't really know what this is, so I'm going to send you to somebody who does. So I went to an ophthalmologist, and then I went to an MRI, and I was diagnosed. All my symptoms are on the right-hand side of my body. So when I lost the feeling in my face, it was exactly the right side, perfect in half. It's bizarre. The eye has never come back, so I have a prism in this lens that creates a single vision for me. But if I take my glasses off, I still see two of everything. My right leg is weaker. The foot drop is on the right leg. Yeah. So I am grateful every single morning that MS has been kind to me. And the way I look at it is MS is a tenant in my basement suite that I'll never get rid of. But as long as I respect him and give him his space and just make smart decisions, he pretty much leaves me alone. So I'm good with that.
Is it a degenerative disease? I mean, will this get worse as you get older, or does it get to a point and stop?
Great question. They, meaning research and neurologists, have no idea what causes MS. And there are three types. One is relapsing remitting. So you'll go through remission, and then you will have a relapse. And when the relapse ends, you go back to where you were at the beginning. So it's more of just a bad time, but you pretty much go back to where you were. Secondary progressive is what I have. And so I was diagnosed in 1990, and it's taken me that many years to get to where I am today. The only people who notice changes are family members who don't see me very often. But my husband, he doesn't really think I've changed all that much, and I like that. Secondary progressive is very common. Primary progressive is somebody who gets diagnosed and will be very, very disabled, probably in the wheelchair very, very, very quickly. Nobody will give you a prognosis. I remember saying to my neurologist, you've been doing this job for 20, 30 years. You must know somebody like me. How did their life turn out? And, they just won't go there. They don't know.
So is there any treatment at all?
There are some disease modifying therapies depending on your symptoms. Some of them have pretty nasty side effects. I have not used MS drug at all. I've done it all with supplements, exercise, and making good choices. And I don't really pay attention too much to the medical side of it. I like more the holistic, the natural way, the healthy way of getting through this. And it works for me. Doesn't work for everybody, I get that. But it works for me, so I'm going to stay with this.
Let's touch a little bit on the book. There's a book. Now, you were a collaborator with this book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a book titled Absolute Will, and it's written by 22 different women from 7 countries around the world. Everyone tells a story of facing some challenging obstacle. For example, MS for me, an abusive relationship, losing a baby, a premature baby, drug addiction. It just goes on. And they tell their story, but we all come out on the other side as cheerleaders and empowered women, and we are now working on something to help others in the same general area as we are ourselves.
So it has a happy ending, in other words.
Absolutely. And
That's
we've
great.
decided, well, the lady who is the publisher of it, we're going to call it an absolute series. And I've just been chosen as one of the authors for the next book, which is going to be called Absolute Vision.
Have you written anything else?
I wrote a PhD thesis, which was my first introduction to writing something that big. I've done, blog posts and little things like that, but this chapter was a great place for a newbie to begin. Book collaborations are awesome because I didn't have to write 100 pages. It was great.
Well, that's true, and somebody else handles the publishing and all of the. Yeah, so
Exactly.
you make
Yeah.
your contribution and you're done. Yeah. How did you get involved in this project?
I have a group online in Facebook, and it's called, MS stands for Mindset Shift. And I have 600 members from all over the world. And one day, some lady posted a post or wrote a post about another lady who deals with lupus, is looking for contributors to this book. So I followed the link and chatted with her. She lives in Canada, and I told her a little bit about my story, and she said, "You're in, woohoo!"
Last question, and then we got to wind this down. Do you plan on continuing to write anything? Do you have any other projects
Yeah,
going?
I am applying for TEDx talks, so I'll be doing some speech writing and presenting at different. I've applied to it. Speak at different women's conferences, and eventually I would like to put together my own book.
Oh, that's great. A book about your life story?
Yeah, and going beyond it, and what you put into life is what you get out, and there are so many ways to feel good about who you are and what you do. And I have this little MS toolbox that I pack around with me and I share wherever I go. And I just feel I have something really positive and encouraging to give back to other women who maybe aren't there yet, and for them to know that they are not alone. And you really do feel that when your friends think you're not trying hard enough, or but you look so good, are you sure? And so your world gets smaller and smaller, and you learn very quickly who your real friends are.
Well, that's for sure. Everybody's your friend when the times are good. When the times go bad, that's when you know who sticks around. Patti, we got to wrap this up. We are out of time. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
Yes, I do. It's pattikaye.com. So there's no www at all. So it's just pattikaye.com. And my MS community, which is MS stands for Mindset Shift, is just a great group of ladies. We listen, we ask questions, we share funny things, we cry, we vent, and it's just a real comfortable, safe place to be. So anybody who wants to check it out, please do.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story. And best of luck with the book. I hope it does well, and I hope you continue to write.